This evidence demonstrates, and it's through eyewitness testimony that's been corroborated by others through their eyewitness statements, that 130,000 to 280,000 completed ballots for the 2020 general election were shipped from Bethpage, New York to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where those ballots and the trailer in which they were shipped disappeared.
Disappeared, you say? And the left-leaning media, big tech, everyone and their mother that's a leftist right now that is completely delusional, claims that there is no evidence. Welcome, guys. My name is Drew Hernandez. Welcome to the Lives Matter official podcast. If you guys are new to the podcast, make sure to subscribe. Like this video if you are watching this transmission, guys. Lets the algorithm know that you want to continue to actually see and listen to what I have to say. So make sure to smash the like button. And also, guys, at the end of every show, we do Snapchats. We do super chats. If you guys would like to support me as a creator, as a host, everything I got going on here with this show, my career, the way you guys could support this channel. I do not monetize. I do not run ads. I don't boggle you guys down with those things, but if you guys would like to support this channel, at the end of every single show, we'll do super chats. So that's how you guys could support me. And like always, you guys could donate below through PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, all that good stuff. So let's just get right into it. Attorney General Bill Barr, I know a lot of people may have lost faith in him today. I never really had a lot of faith in that man based off of a lot of things that took place with AG Barr. It's not a surprise to me because the deep state runs extremely deep. It doesn't shock me that AG Barr is not doing his job. I find it, don't you guys find it funny how all of a sudden, like, leftists don't understand that the deep state exists? Have you guys seen this? Like, I'll give you an example, right? For the past 4 years, the entire left-leaning media just hates AG Barr, right? Hating on him for not leaning on their side. And then out of nowhere, when it's convenient, they just automatically jump, right? When they say something when someone says something that the left wants or can use, they automatically jump on their side. You know what I'm saying? Like out of nowhere, AG Barr is like a credible source of truth to every leftist on Twitter. Have you guys noticed that? Like all of a sudden, these hypocrites, these people do this every single time, and they don't realize that the deep state runs deep. People get blackmailed. People flip. People get threatened. I don't know why AG Barr is not doing his job. It's very clear that there's a lot of work out there to be done when it comes to the 2020 election, and it comes to election fraud, irregularities, and even election official illegal activity. That's the big story here in 2020. I talked about this last night. If you guys would like to listen to how I broke down the constitutional path, that has a lot more to do with actual election official illegal activity. There's a kind of huge case being made there constitutionally, and the mainstream media doesn't talk about it, but I talk about it. You guys could listen to my last podcast, but don't you just find it interesting how these people, like all of a sudden AG Barr is like their messiah. All of a sudden, this guy's like a source of truth. CNN, all the MSNBC pundits, all over Twitter, all of the leftists are reposting AG Barr's face. They do this every single time. Every single person that seems to be flipping or turning against Donald Trump or says something that is not in favor of Trump, all of a sudden becomes a source of truth for them. And these leftists don't understand that the deep state exists. People flip. There really is no left or right anymore, because the deep state is in the right as well. If you haven't discovered that or opened your eyes to that by now, it's time you do, because the Republicans aren't the good guys. You know, I get criticized a lot for this pre-2020 because I wouldn't always side with the Republicans. I'd always criticize them. I would never come out and endorse the Republican Party. And a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans didn't like me because of that. And the reason why I wouldn't do that is because of the freaking boat we are in right now. You pissed off, conservatives? People that have been voting Republican for decades, are you mad? Yeah, that's why I don't support these people. Because when it comes down to it, when it comes down to defending the Republic, we have hundreds, thousands of elected Republican officials that will not defend the Republic with their elected power and their lives. There are deep state operatives in the Republican Party. I'm sorry if that busts your bubble, but this is why I don't come out and I'm like full-blown GOP, because the deep state is in the GOP as well. You're seeing this in Arizona. You saw this with Brian Kemp. You're seeing this all over the place. All of these people, all these deep state operatives that are in the Republican Party. The Republican Party, the GOP, the establishment did not want Donald Trump in 2016. You understand that, right? And they don't want him now. This is why hundreds of Republicans, senators, mayors, governors, people elected, are turning their backs on Donald Trump. So does it surprise me that Attorney General William Barr is jumping ship? Absolutely not. Means nothing. Does that surprise you? Are you literally that stupid on the left to not see how politics functions? That it's possibly a huge political move on the part of the Attorney General A.G. Barr to side with the left-leaning political mainstream narrative that there is zero election fraud in order to save his own career? Can you not see that? Like, are people that stupid? I guess so, you know? They're that stupid. Like, people make decisions based off of political optics, political interest, money, blackmail's involved in a lot of these cases. And you think that Attorney General Barr is actually honestly coming out with all 100% honesty to the American people and saying that there is zero election fraud that could possibly change the course of the election result? You believe that. Like, you believe that. Number one, if you're a leftist and you hated AG Barr before today, you're an idiot if all of a sudden this man is like a source of truth to you. Stupid can you possibly be? Number two, you can't even see the political optics of how this stuff works. Is what he is doing right? No, absolutely not. I think he's a fraud because right now patriots have to stand up. Right now patriots have to stand up to defend the republic. That's what Donald Trump is doing. That's what Lynn Wood is doing. That's what Sidney Powell is doing. That's what Janet Ellis, Rudy Giuliani, the entire Trump legal team is fighting for your constitutional rights by combating illegal election activity, especially with election officials. Now, okay, let's give it to you. I'll give it to you. Let's say that attorney. Let's just say, okay. Let's play pretend, right? You know, my 12-year-old niece is always like loves playing pretend. You know, she's like, oh, imagine this, and imagine if we were like that, and imagine if we were here, and imagine if you like got shot in the leg, and imagine I had to save you. Like, you guys know, right? You had kids, and you have a niece, or you have a nephew that just loves to use their imagination. Let's play imagination, okay? Let's imagine that Attorney General William Barr is being completely honest right now. Okay? Let's just give that to you. Let's just imagine that AG Barr is being honest, that he genuinely looked into this with the Department of Justice, the FBI. Let's imagine, okay, that he did his job and he thoroughly investigated this and found nothing. Let's just imagine, okay? Well, if that's the case, then I want to know how this intro video that I played you, I want to know, how is it that Trump's legal team is digging up and confirming legitimate eyewitness testimony by the hundreds, by the way, signed affidavits, which you do under the penalty of perjury. You can go to jail in some states for more than 5 years of lying on a sworn affidavit, a sworn testimony, okay? That's what the Trump legal team has been gathering in multiple states. And some of these eyewitness testimonies and accounts are not just coming from one person. There is like a singular story of Republicans being kettled, which is a federal violation of election law, by the way, which could really destroy the election for Biden. I'm just being completely honest with you. There are eyewitness testimonies of one story being corroborated with like 50 to, in some cases, like 100 different eyewitnesses that all experienced, heard, saw, watched, and lived through the exact same thing. That is evidence. That's how evidence works. Whenever a police officer or a federal agent, whenever they're on a crime scene and an investigation starts, what's the first thing that investigators look for? Eyewitnesses. Period. That's the strongest source of evidence that you could possibly ever obtain. That's what the Trump legal team has done in multiple states. Fact. That's a fact. So, how is it that Attorney General Barr is saying that there is not enough widespread evidence to pursue, yet the Trump legal team is gathering a wealth, a mountain, an iceberg of legitimate signed affidavits that if you lie on these things, it could be penalty of perjury up to 5 or more years in some states, thrown in jail. How is it that the Trump legal team is doing the FBI's job and the Department of Justice job, gathering intel, gathering credible evidence, and presenting it in court? Interesting. I would submit to you that AG Barr, remember what I said, let's imagine that he did his job. If he did do his job, he's lazy as hell and is not doing his job and should be fired, or he's lying. It's one or the other. Because there is legitimate evidence that is rolling out. The Trump legal team is gathering it in multiple states. It's very sad to see. The legal definition of an affidavit is signed, confirmed, eyewitness testimony that is evidence that is presented in court. It like blows my mind. Like when you read Twitter and Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis and these lawyers, professionals, all come out and have hundreds of signed affidavits, people giving eyewitness testimony that if they're found out to be lying, they could be thrown in jail. It's hilarious when you see these leftists say, that's not real evidence. It's like, dude, a simple Google search will show you that it is. Like I said, you can't really expect much from the left. Yeah, you can have a lot of knowledge, but I mean, if you can't understand and define certain things and apply it in the real world, you're just lost. So I say that because we had a case today in Virginia that was very interesting, and we're going to talk about it today because I find it absurd that the Attorney General of the United States says that there is no widespread evidence that could overturn the results of the election anywhere in these swing states. Yet this came out today. Don't you find it interesting? And notice the timing of this stuff, guys. Notice today you had one hearing. I believe it was in Michigan, right? Tons of evidence. Or even a Hispanic immigrant, legal immigrant, that was a Republican challenger to challenge whether a ballot is fraudulent, is real. That's legal, by the way. That's how elections work. They're allowed to do that, a Democrat as well. Was discriminated against. She was harassed and she was threatened by Democrats. People wearing Black Lives Matter clothing in the election center. An immigrant, a Hispanic woman. She was discriminated against in Michigan because she didn't have perfect English. Tolerance, right? Yeah, but I mean, we had hearings in Michigan where an individual, I think he was some kind of talk show, I don't know what he was doing, but he swore on a sworn affidavit. And then in the middle of the court hearing, he took an oath in front of all of the legislators. He swore himself in. I don't know if you guys watched the Michigan hearing today, but it was that's serious. That's that is real. If you are found out lying, punishable. This man swore himself in. And the legislators accepted. And they acknowledged that he had just sworn himself in. If you're not watching this, you're just an idiot. You're denying reality. This man swore himself in today in Michigan. The legislators accepted it, and they put on record that he just swore himself in. So anything he says that's false, that's a lie, that's wrong, he could be charged criminally. That's how this works. And he testified today under an oath of an affidavit, sworn affidavit, and swearing himself in. And the legislators accepted it. This man testified that he himself eyewitnessed multiple voting machines plugged directly into the internet via Ethernet cables. That is 100% a violation of United States Constitution, federal, state election law. That alone could discredit the entire election in Michigan. Because, what did we talk about last night, guys? What did we talk about? What's the case here? Rules. If it can be proven that constitutional, federal, state election rules have been violated, that is what will end up canceling out hundreds of thousands of votes. You see, the mainstream media is not telling you guys this stuff. It's a very sophisticated approach that Rudy Giuliani took. It's very fast, actually. Because if you could prove that the Constitution was violated in order to conduct an election by the states, you have a huge case there. Huge. And all of those votes would literally be rendered illegal. But the mainstream media still sits here and tells you that there's no evidence of any election irregularities, of any election illegal activity. Yet here it is. So today we had a hearing in Michigan, and we had a conference. I don't know if we call it a conference, but call it you can call it I don't know what the correct word would be, but they held it in Virginia. Just a place where they all met, where in Virginia, the whistleblowers, this had to do with the USPS predominantly in Virginia, right? They had a press conference today to allow a platform for these whistleblowers that are all under oath as well, that have provided their sworn testimonies. And these testimonies are mind-blowing. If these people are lying, they will not only lose all credibility in life because they've gone public, lose their jobs, lose their livelihoods, and possibly be thrown in jail. Let me show you guys an article real quick if we can get this up, and then I'll play you guys the video. Up to 280,000 ballots disappeared after trip to Pennsylvania from New York Amistad Project director. As many as 288,000 ballots from the 2020 U.S. election disappeared in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, after being transported by truck from New York, according to Phil Klein, the director of the legal group Thomas More Society's Amistad Project. Klein, a former district attorney and Kansas attorney general, said he received evidence that between 130,000 to 280,000 completed ballots for the 2020 general election had been shipped from Bethpage, New York, before the ballots and the trailer in which they were shipped disappeared on October 21st. Klein cited statements from a U.S. Postal Service subcontractor whom he described as a whistleblower. Klein also asserted in a statement that Postal Service workers were engaged in widespread illegal efforts to influence the election. At least one whistleblower said that they transported thousands of pre-filled ballots across state lines, which, if true, would be a federal crime. His group made an estimate of the number of ballots that disappeared. Klein said that the group will share the information with law enforcement. I don't even know if I would trust that. Including the FBI, I would not trust that, U.S. attorneys in other areas, and local prosecutors who are aware of our evidence. Neither the FBI nor the Postal Service immediately responded to a request by the Epoch Times for comment. Of course they didn't. This is unbelievable. The man identified by Klein as the whistleblower, Jesse Morgan, a truck driver for a USPS subcontractor, said at the news conference, there, I said the right word, it was a conference, that he was driving a truck filled with up to 288,000 ballots on October 21st. This was before the election, all the mail-in ballots. According to Just the News, the truck and ballots disappeared from a USPS depot in Lancaster after he dropped it off there, he said. Morgan added that the Postal Service personnel exhibited odd behaviors that grossly deviated from normal procedure and behavior on that day. The driver said he was transporting completed mail-in ballots with addresses in Harrisburg, but he had to deliver his ballots to Lancaster. I'm going to talk about this right now, which he felt was unusual. That was before the trailer disappeared, in Morgan's words. Interesting. The event was hosted by Thomas More Society's Amistad Project, an initiative that works to preserve civil liberties, on December 1st in Arlington, which was today, in Virginia. The Amistad Project has filed lawsuits in several states in recent weeks, including one on November 26th in Michigan. Okay, so this evidence, you guys, this is no games. These are serious lawsuits. This isn't like Judge Judy, okay? Like this ain't no Judge Larry Brown crap, okay? Where you just go in, you can waste someone's time and hope that you win. This is big boy talk right here. This is the best of the best. This is the major leagues, the NFL, the top of the top. This is big. Another USPS whistleblower, Ethan Pease of Madison, which, might I add, admitted that he is not a Trump supporter or not even a Biden supporter in his written sworn testimony, okay? So this man is not even a Republican or a Democrat. Another USPS whistleblower, Ethan Pease of Madison, Wisconsin, said during the news conference that he works as a USPS subcontractor and alleged that he was told the post office was planning to backdate tens of thousands of mail-in ballots before the November 3rd election. Pease and Klein asserted that it was a bid to circumvent the submission deadline for ballots. That's illegal. If they change the dates on those mail-in ballots, again, what did I teach you guys last night? What is that? That is a violation of constitutional state laws that have been enacted by the legislator, which would render those votes what? Void. That's how this works. This is how this works, gang. I'm just giving you the facts. This is how these lawyers are seeing these things. Let me read this last statement here. In a statement, the Amistad Project stated it obtained sworn testimony. There it is. All of this stuff is under sworn testimony, guys. This is serious business. Like, people can go to jail for lying about this stuff. Stated it obtained sworn testimony that suggests that over 300,000 ballots are at issue in Arizona. This is over 500,000 ballots in Michigan, over 204,000 in Georgia, and over 121,000 in Pennsylvania. Let's go back. Now, I want to point out two things. We're gonna go over the video, but before I show you this man's testimony, I want you to think about two things as you watch this, okay? Context. This man is a subcontractor, truck driver, that was contracted by USPS to drive these mail-in ballots in October to an election center, wherever, to be officially submitted, verified, and counted, okay? As he loaded his truck, they loaded in New York, but they sent him to Pennsylvania. Why? Why are mail-in ballots being loaded in New York to be delivered in Pennsylvania? This doesn't concern anybody? And I'm going to show you this man's testimony. You could tell he's very afraid. And listen, the everyday, average, normal person that's not on TV, that jumps on one of the biggest stages of world American history is going to be a little skittish. I can tell you that right now. These aren't trained television personalities that are trained on camera. These are everyday Americans. This guy's a truck driver. He seems very nervous, very scared, putting his life on the line. So you have to bear with him. Why didn't he say anything when it was happening? He says in the video that he just didn't think at the moment. Haven't you ever been in a place in your life where you're like, I didn't even realize what was happening until it was done? You've never been through something like that? I think we all have. And his story is insane. I'm going to let him tell it to you himself. This is about a 9-minute clip, but the world needs to hear this. CNN's not going to play this. MSNBC's not going to play this. Even some conservative podcasters aren't going to play this. They don't want to touch it, but I'll play it because you can hear the fear in this man's heart. And I think it's because he knows. He knows that there's some people out there that might want to kill him for something like this. So let's give this a look.
So, in total, I saw 24 gaylords, or large cardboard containers of ballots loaded into my trailer. These gaylords contain plastic trays, I call them totes, but trays will work, of ballots stacked on top of each other. All the envelopes were the same size. I could see the envelopes had handwritten return addresses, and I could even tell that one was marked registered mail. That one was off to the side, all right? They were complete ballots. I didn't think much of it at the time. At Bethpage, I was first loaded with 2 tall gaylords. So picture that thing there, or this little representation here, but this tall, all right? So I was loaded with 2 tall gaylords, okay? And that were, where was I at? That had mixed mail pieces bound for Lancaster. These gaylords were loaded first because they would be the last off my trailer. The remainder of the truck was loaded with complete ballots bounded for Harrisburg. I then drove to Harrisburg with the ballots. Usually I offload in one of the 7 docks every day, but not on October 21st. I wasn't allowed to offload. That's different. Whenever I pull into Harrisburg, I go around and I get my dock and I get unloaded and then I roll out. Not that day, all right? Not that day. Instead, I was made to wait for roughly 6 hours in the yard, from 9:15 a.m. to 3 p.m. This really ticked me off, all right? Because my brother was in town. He just moved back up. And I wanted to spend some time with him. I tried to get the attention of postal workers, but no one would tell me what's going on. All of this was weird. I arrived at about the same time every day. The expediter scans all my seals and barcodes, and they unload me. But for the first time, but from the time I first arrived in Harrisburg from Bethpage, everything got weird. None of that happened. After waiting 6 hours, I went inside to figure out what's going on. I was told to wait for the transportation supervisor. This was also weird. 16 months I've been doing this. I haven't ever talked to the transportation supervisor for the United States Postal Service. I talk to an expediter. I come in, I see an expediter, that's who I deal with. If I have an issue, it's the expediter. I don't deal with anyone else but the expediter. I never talk to the United States Postal Service's transportation supervisor. Let's make that clear. I have my own transportation supervisor for the company that I work for. He's the one that gives me the details. He's the one that I listen to. I don't listen to this guy. He's the guy that would contact my boss if he needed something ran different. I've never spoken with this transportation supervisor from the United States Postal Service. They don't speak to people like me. He's a top guy. He's the kind of guy that would speak to my boss, not a trucker like me. The supervisor told me to drive to Lancaster without being unloaded in Harrisburg. This made no sense to me. I knew the ballots were loaded for Harrisburg, and that if I was to go to Lancaster, they would have to off-unload my ballot or those pallets in Lancaster to take off Lancaster stuff, to put the ballots back on the trailer, to send them back to Harrisburg. Doesn't make no sense. This was a real screw up in my thinking. I wanted my ticket. So whenever I go to a place, when I go there and whenever I'll leave, I'll get a ticket. I'll get a ticket, a slip, whatever you want to call it. It's the date, time that I'm supposed to be there. It'll have my trailer number on it. It'll have how much I'm loaded. It'll have the seal number. It has my name. It'll have who was the expediter. So I wanted my ticket, my slip. I call them tickets. Some people call them slips, okay? And then because I was there for 6 hours, I wanted my late slip too, because I wanted to be paid for sitting in that yard for 6 hours. So I wanted the ticket and the late slip for stopping in at Harrisburg. Also, I wanted it because if they're telling me to take this load to Lancaster, I don't want to pull up the Lancaster of Harrisburg crap and be like, yeah, they just told me to come here and not have no ticket, because they don't look like I just came straight here, you know. Just to prove that I was there. And so others would know I wasn't the person that screwed this up. A ticket is always provided to a driver when they arrive at a United States Postal Service facility. It proves you were there. The transportation supervisor refused to give me a ticket and told me to leave. I then demanded he give me a late slip, since I wanted to get paid for the time I was sitting there. And waiting for them to offload me, he refused to give me that too. He was kind of rude and wouldn't explain anything to me.
Now, before we begin and continue, just make a mental note that when he arrived to the USPS facility, they made him wait like 6 hours. Okay? They made him wait 6 hours. Just keep that in your mind, because I want you to put all this together, all right? Let's continue.
He just told me to go to Lancaster. I then drove to Lancaster, unhooked my trailer in its normal place, and then drove my truck to where I always park it, in a nearby lot, and then I went home. The next day, it just got weirder. As I arrived at Lancaster's United States Postal Service facility with my tractor, I went to hook up to my trailer. And my trailer was gone. Not there no more. 10R 1440. Since I started driving that Bethpage route, I've always had trailer 10R 1440. I like that trailer. It was a nice trailer. I know you guys probably don't really know nothing about truck driving or trailers or anything, but the rear tandems, it had if you're driving light, the rear tandems the front axle will actually go up. Nice air ride. The doors on it worked great. Some of the trailers that place has, you could honestly put it on the back of a carrier and drop it off in the middle of the ocean and no one would worry about it. So that trailer I really liked, okay? What happened on October 21st was a series of unusual events that cannot be a coincidence. I know I saw ballots with return addresses filled out, thousands of them, thousands, loaded onto my trailer in New York and headed for Pennsylvania. At first, I didn't think it was a big deal. In fact, I thought it was really awesome. I really did. I was like, sweet, I'm doing something for the presidential race. You know, this is cool. But as things became weirder, I got to thinking and wondered why I was driving complete ballots from New York to Pennsylvania. I didn't know why, so I decided to speak up. And that's what I'm doing today. Thank you.
So, now remember, let's just analyze this man's testimony. Number one, this is sworn. Number two, he could go to jail for lying about this. Number three, if you can't obviously tell, this guy is just a normal dude. He's a truck driver. He's trying to get his sentences together, extremely nervous, very scared. You could tell he's not a professional speaker. You could tell that he's probably never been on TV before, probably never been in front of this many people before in his life, and may never, ever be ever again. With all those factors, and you just take a look at how he's telling his story, it's not only compelling, it's very sad. You could tell it looks like a man that's scared of telling the truth because, number one, it's humiliating because it looks like you got played and you were used. And number two, you could tell that he takes his job very seriously. And he's obviously fearful that he's responsible for losing possibly hundreds and thousands of ballots under his watch. And he's a subcontractor, so he's putting his entire career on the line right now. It's not like he works for the USPS, this giant company that has millions of dollars to cover you or send you to a different location. Now, with that being said, let's go over with what he said. Number one, why is this man being told in the end of October to take his truck, which is filled with possibly thousands, hundreds of thousands of ballots in New York, to transport them to Pennsylvania? Why? For what purpose? For what purpose? Very interesting. Now, I have no idea why. And I think that's the number one question on everybody's mind right now, is to why was this man instructed to transport hundreds of thousands of ballots from New York straight to Pennsylvania? I don't know. Now, remember, they made him wait like 6 hours. They made him wait a long time. What was going on for those 6 hours? What was taking place? What had been done? What was being said? And notice that the truck driver in his testimony says, you know, I deal with my boss that deals with the USPS boss, right? He's like, I don't deal with the main heads in USPS. I'm just the driver. I'm just the subcontractor, and my boss deals with their boss. That's how it works. And he says that he was in contact directly with them, which to him was extremely absurd. It's like his boss was being overwritten by the USPS in order to do and go certain or take a certain route. Now, I'm just connecting all the dots. They don't make sense. So they have him sitting there for 6 hours. Did he get there too early? Was he the wrong one to bring that truckload of mail-in ballots from New York? See, but this is where it gets weird because they made him wait for 6 hours. Now remember, this isn't election night. If it was election night, it'd be pretty interesting. But this was in October. So after he waits for 6 hours, they tell him to just leave. And he goes, he leaves. I don't know if he went to some kind of, he dropped off the trailer that contained the hundreds of thousands of votes in a secure USPS location, supposedly, and then went, and I don't know if he went to a truck stop. I don't know. He went somewhere to stay the night. Came back to pick up the trailer, and it was gone. It was gone. Now, this is what I want to point out here is the time delay of 6 hours that they made him wait. What was being said in those 6 hours? What was being talked about? What was being strategized? Was someone following him? Was his trailer supposed to be brought in by somebody else? Were those hundreds of thousands of ballots some kind of fail-safe for Pennsylvania? Because what ended up happening in Pennsylvania on election night? Donald Trump was winning in a landslide. Landslide. I think he was up by like 700K with like 65, 70% of the vote in when they stopped counting. Remember that? Biden was down by almost 1 million votes in Pennsylvania. And then frantically, out of nowhere, hundreds and thousands of mail-in ballots. And CNN is saying, don't worry, guys. There's still hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots coming in. Now, here's my question. Do you remember how CNN and the media was saying that mail-in ballots are coming in Pennsylvania on election night, and they did magically overnight? Remember that? Here's what I'm trying to get you to see. If one of those trucks went to Pennsylvania and take your mind off of the truck disappearing or the trailer disappearing, did that trailer end up making its way to Pennsylvania after all? You know what this means? If that's true, that means that there are hundreds and thousands of votes that were from New York that made their way to Pennsylvania. Now, who do you think those went to? Are you guys tracking with me? You guys understand this, right? Let me say that one more time. If this is true, which this is under sworn testimony, this trailer, if it ended up making its way to Pennsylvania, that means that there could possibly potentially be hundreds of thousands of ballots that were from New York that went directly to Pennsylvania. That's huge. Where's the trailer? I hope you guys are tracking with me right now, because take your mind off of it, the trailer being stolen. My question is, if that thing ended up still going to Pennsylvania, you have hundreds of thousands of New York voters going to Pennsylvania. That's the issue. I want to know where that truck is. I think we all want to know where the trailer is. You see, here's what I want you to understand tonight, America, is when you hear AG Barr and you hear the hard left and you hear CNN and you hear the pundits and the fact checkers on Twitter saying that there is no evidence, you're hearing lies. You're literally hearing lies. There are sworn testimonies that are corroborating these stories. There are people testifying, putting their lives on the line right now. This truck driver is one of them. For what reason? For what reason? What would be worth going to jail over in a situation like this? What would be worth it? What, some TV time being acknowledged by the president? An investigation taking place to find out that you're a fraud and a liar? The number one question people are asking is, well, how can we prove that this guy was actually there? You know, see, this is where these people are smart. They kill the paper trail. He says in his testimony that he asked for a record, which is normal, which he says, by the way, when he asks for a record of his drop-off and even a record of his overtime pay or the hours that he had to stay over. And he says that he was denied that by the USPS. Is that true? Is that a lie? That is a very serious lie. And there's all kinds of ways to corroborate that. But I'll tell you one thing. This is something that I know Rush Limbaugh. This is something that I know, people like Glenn Beck, big voices, because I listen to them all the time. This is something that these big voices have been really concerned about lately when it comes to the Trump legal team and their claims of election fraud or election illegal activity, that it would be real, and it would be, their main concerns have been that they would be real, that they would be credible, and that they would possibly equate to the amount of votes it would need in order to validate the correct results in the election and wrong the right that was right the wrong that was made in the election. We got it. It's here. That's what this is. When it comes to these legal activities, when it comes to these legal arguments, when it comes to the constitutional avenue that Rudy Giuliani and the Trump legal team is literally taking right now. What am I saying? What I'm saying is when you listen to Twitter or Facebook, or you're on CNN, or you're even listening to Fox and you're hearing there's no evidence, dude, you're in the midst of something that is extremely spiritual. I don't think people understand. You know, I'm a hardcore student in Bible prophecy, and one of the main things that you see in eschatology is that when the advent of the Antichrist takes place, that God himself is going to send strong delusion on the world, that they will willfully believe the lie because they rejected and suppressed the truth. What that means is that, and that's not where we're at right now. I'll tell you that right now. That's in the tribulation. That's when that all goes down. But I'm using this as a biblical example to show you that the Bible does talk about humanity being in a certain era in the last days where God himself will give people's consciences their free will over to where they will not be able to discern a lie, even if it's right in front of their faces, with all facts, all truth, all proof, all evidence, everything laid out right before you. A spiritual event will take place where you don't have the ability to even see the truth anymore. That's a scary place to ever be. Now, I use that as an example because I'm not saying we're in the tribulation. Don't get me wrong. I'm using it as an example is because we're getting closer and closer and closer to those days and to those times. And if you read Romans chapter 1, God gives people over to a debased mind. God gives them over to their darkened hearts. God gives them over. They sear their own consciences. He gives them over to their own sinful, evil desires. What am I saying? What I'm saying is there's a spiritual aspect that takes place in the human heart without God, to where you can get to a place where you can no longer identify truth anymore, even if it's just laid out right before you. And I'm sternly warning you guys, you could end up in this place. And right now we are seeing it. We're not seeing the tribulation. I'm just saying we are seeing these kinds of spiritual events taking place in America. Dude, you have evidence. You have truth, testimony coming out. Look at Twitter and all the leftists, kids denying it, mocking it, calling it a donkey and a pony show, saying it's all a joke and it's not real. I know it irritates you as a Trump supporter, and it irritates you as a conservative, and you're just like, oh my, like, what do you mean it's not? Don't let it, dude. There's nothing you can do to open those person's minds. There seriously is a spiritual thing taking place in the human heart right now where people's consciences are seared. God has given many people over to a debased mind to do the things that displease him. Their foolish hearts have been darkened, numbed. It means that their conscience, their mind, their brain, their moral compass is dead to any sense of morality or identification of truth, absolute truth. It's a very scary place to be, and we see it every day. We've been seeing it being amplified under the Trump administration, but right now I watch the media and I watch how CNN suppresses the truth. Talk about biblical times, when the Bible says that they willfully suppress the truth. You're seeing that right now. You see CNN foaming at the mouth, suppressing the truth. You see MSNBC and even Fox suppressing the truth. Fact checkers on Twitter and Facebook suppressing the truth. Why do I say that, man? And you might be a leftist, like, dude, you're an idiot. You've proved nothing. I'm like, dude, then why are Democrats coming out and testifying? Have you even seen that? There are Democrats coming out and testifying of illegal election activity that took place. And here you are saying that it ain't real. There's something dark and spiritual going on in all of you that cannot see this, that keep rejecting and saying that it's not real. And you might be sitting there laughing. I'll tell you one thing, bro. I'll have the last laugh. I know where I'm going if I die. I will have the last laugh. You better believe. I'm coming back with Christ. In Revelation chapter 19, he'll be riding in on a white horse. I'll be riding in right behind him on his coattails as he slaughters a bloodbath the Antichrist world and all of his enemies. I'll be right there. That's what the Bible says. I will have the last laugh. Trust me. I live my life that way. And that's what the Bible teaches. Anyways, guys, let's take some super chats right now. If you guys would like to support the channel, this is how you guys can support me. If you guys would like to ask a question, or if you would like to say something, ask a question about whatever, politics, faith, culture, music, movies, life, whatever. This is how you guys support me as a creator. When you guys drop a question, leave a super chat. I don't monetize. I don't do anything like that. So if you guys would like to support me, this is how you can do it tonight. So let me see if I can find some. Here we go. And like I said, if you guys don't want to use super chat, I leave the option. I leave the links below for the Cash App, the Patreon, the Venmo, and the PayPal. They're all below. That's how you guys could support me. So I'm going to start taking some of these super chats right now. United States Air Force Gunner, USAF. You think Barr is lulling people into a false sense of security? Keep fighting the good fight, man. I love your show. I don't think so, man. And I know a lot of Q people, they just think William Barr is like freaking gonna like save the republic and has this crazy secret plan that's just gonna pounce on the deep state. And it's like, dude, it's been 4 years, man. Okay? It's been 4 years. And the guy's turning out not to be what you think he is. You have to watch. What did Jesus teach you? You shall know them by what? By their fruits. You watch people's behavior. You watch what they do. What is Barr doing right now? He's turning on Trump. It's very clear. The Trump campaign put out a statement saying, yeah, regarding his behavior, yeah, whatever. They basically said we're doing our own investigation and it's already underway. I'm just being real with you guys. I'm just being completely real with you guys. I'm not one. I mean, of course I want AG Barr to be legit, but at this point, I was talking with the Tatum team earlier, and I was just telling them, like in our group chat, I was just saying, my heart hurts for Donald Trump, man. Like, to be so alone, like so famous and so alone, and for people to be leaving the administration, jumping ship after everything this man has done for the country, like my heart hurts. Like, doesn't it hurt, And, all we can do is pray. And, Jesus, I'm not saying Trump is Jesus. I'm just saying his life at this point is very similar. Even the Apostle Paul, that's why he wrote at the end of his epistle in 2 Timothy that at his first defense, no one stood with me, but the Lord stood with me and didn't forsake me. There's instances in our lives where you are by yourself. It's just you. It's just you and God. And I've had instances in my own personal life where it's like do or die. Like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have no one to reach out to. And it's just do or die moments in your Christianity. These days come. And God comes through every single time. It's not perfect, but that's why the Bible does teach that all things will work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. If you are born again, that verse is for you. For those who love God. You cannot love God if you are not a born-again Christian, period. That's what the Bible teaches. Read Romans chapter 3. Now, I just think with Trump, I think this is a huge moment. Like, people are forsaking him. People are leaving him, except for the 72, 73 millions of Americans that love him and support him, and which is a great thing. But I could just only imagine what goes through the mind of Donald Trump. Like, who do you trust? Who do you turn to? I don't know. I just pray for the president. I pray for his team. I pray for him to have like 500 eyes behind his skull, because he's in a place right now. I think Donald Trump's in a do or die moment. And we'll see what God does. Alrighty, let's take some more super chats below. Thank you guys for the super chats and supporting the channel. If you'd like to support the channel, drop a super chat below. Hold on, let me scroll down right here. Rachel, favorite Disney movie? I'm just going to come out and say Lion King. That's it. Favorite Disney movie. Also, would I by any chance be able to hire you for a video voice call to help me speak to some brainwashed BLM friends of mine? Yeah, if you'd like me to, I do speaking engagements all the time. If you'd like me to speak at a conference or a group, whatever, Zoom, I do that stuff all the time. You can go on livesmatterofficial.com and you could book me officially through there as well. But yeah, my favorite Disney movie is The Lion King. People have their thoughts on Disney, but I feel like The Lion King is like the most relatable movie for me. It's definitely like a childhood thing. My favorite scene in The Lion King is when Simba has completely lost his identity, has no idea who he is, has no idea where he's going to go. And then Rafiki shows up and he recognizes him and starts to tell him that his dad is still alive. And, Simba's totally lost his identity. And Rafiki tells him, your dad's still alive. Follow me and I'll show you. And he takes him to this random place where there's this tiny little pond, this little reservoir. And he looks into his reflection and he says, no, that's not my dad. That's just me. And he says, look harder. And he sees himself. And then in the sky, his dad shows up and starts to talk to him. I don't know. This is my favorite part. And then he, revitalizes his identity. He realizes that he let go of who he was and that his dad will always be a part of him. And then it wasn't his fault that he killed his dad because he was living with that guilt and sorrow that wasn't even real to begin with. And I just relate to that more than any other Disney movie. So yeah, judge me. That's fine. I don't care. Okay. Lucy Murphy. Thank you guys for the super chat. Lucy Murphy, thank you for the super chat. Barr and DOJ said he was misquoted. Well, if that's true, then I'd like to see that myself, because what he said was very clear to the American people today, to the point where Donald Trump called him into the White House. Now, did he say he was misquoted after he got roasted by Trump in the White House? Maybe. But I'd like to see that. And like I said, guys, remember, politics is all optics, okay? It's all optics. I really don't know what's in the heart of AG William Barr, but I find those statements to be very shaky. Alrighty, 805-871. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. 805-871. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know if YouTube put down your message or whatever it was, but I thank you for the super chat. I truly do. All of these super chats go directly to supporting me as a creator, guys, just so you guys know. Apex Visual, thank you for the super chat, Apex. Merry Christmas, Drew, just supporting your work and appreciate your faith. Hey, man, I appreciate you, Apex. Thank you guys for the support. Like I said before, you guys, it's really irritating when your channel is so deboosted and you have like almost 50,000 subscribers and your videos are barely getting like 5,000 views. And every time you monetize, it even gets even worse. So that's why, you guys, I give you guys the ability to support this channel, because obviously connecting one-on-one and, watching the videos is great, but I appreciate the support because it sucks when you're deboosted like me. I'm just being completely honest with you. 805-871, thank you for your super chat. In your opinion, what is the best single example of voter fraud to provide my friends who aren't aware of what's going on? 805, I'm going to direct you to my last podcast. Listen to everything I broke down in my last podcast, and you will understand. But in a nutshell, the best way to present this is, number one, explain to your friends what a sworn affidavit is, okay? Explain to them that a sworn affidavit is a legal piece, document, that is accepted in court as evidence, okay? Number one, explain to them what that is. Number two, explain to them that is what the Trump legal team has gathered in the hundreds in order to present in court to be taken seriously. And also remind them that a sworn affidavit in some states is punishable if you're lying on it for more than 5 years, in some states even more. So let them know those two facts. And lastly, let them know that the main argument that the Trump legal team is making is election illegal activity, according to the Constitution. I'll give you an example. The Constitution says what? That the state legislators set the laws for the elections, right? So we have an election. If Democrats, which they did, violated those laws that the legislators set, that is election illegal activity, flag on the play. So what happened in the state of Pennsylvania, more than, I think it was like 600,000 votes, violated the Constitution of the United States, violated the state legislators' rules by not allowing a Republican to inspect and observe visually right next to the counter the ballot. So the constitutional argument would be that's a flag on the play, that's illegal activity, and that because the Republican wasn't allowed to see it and the law was violated, that ballot would be rendered void. That's the argument that the legal team is making. It's a constitutional argument. So, like I said, listen to the last podcast and you'll see. You'll see. Let me see, guys, if I have any more super chats. I think we have a couple right here. I don't want to miss them. USAF Gunner, thank you for the other super chat. Here's a double-double for Baby Yoda at In-N-Out. Yeah, he loves his double-doubles, and sometimes he'll get triple stacks with animal-style fries with no onions because he does not like onions. Grogu does not like onions. Did you know that Baby Yoda has a name? Are you guys watching The Mandalorian? He has a name now. It's Grogu. They named him. Ahsoka talked to him with her with the Force. So, yes, Grogu does have a name. He loves double-doubles and triple stacks sometimes, but he likes his animal-style fries with no onions because he hates onions because it makes his breath smell. So, yes, guys, if you guys have any more super chats, drop one below before I head out tonight. Anything you guys would like to ask, anything you guys would like to add, if there's something I missed or got wrong, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and be all triggered and act like a friggin' grifter and act like I can't be criticized. Trust me. Been there, done that. That's fine. He'll always be Baby Yoda to me. I know, right? It's hard for a lot of people to drop the Baby Yoda thing. You know, I'm gonna drop this announcement real quick. If there's any more super chats, drop them below. But I will be at SAS this year, in Florida. So I kind of want to do like a meetup with you guys. If you guys do go, if you guys go to SAS, the Turning Point USA, I like to go and meet up with my viewers and my fans. I kind of like to use that opportunity to meet up with you guys and meet you guys in person. So if you guys would like to meet me, I'd like to invite you guys to come hang out with me. I'll be at SAS 2020. I think it's in like a couple weeks. So if you guys would like to come and meet me, I will be there. Come meet me, come say hi, take pictures, all that good stuff. So if you guys would like to join me, I just want to put that out there that I will be there so we can hang out. So I just wanted to make that announcement tonight as well. I think someone said, how do I super chat? I think like in the bottom left of your where it says, you see where it says live chat, and then where everyone's talking right here. And then it says, how do I super chat? There's like a $sign on the bottom left. I think that's it. Or some people don't like using super chat because it does take a percentage away. Some people like using Venmo. They like using Cash App. They like using PayPal, all that cool stuff. That's what people do. But 805-871. Thank you, bro. Yes, thank you for the super chat. And like I said, make sure to go and listen to my last podcast. I break it down very thoroughly. It's like an hour and 30-minute long video, but I do my best to break it down. And I'll give you this recommendation as well. Go listen to Rudy Giuliani's videos on his legal theory and his approach on how he's doing it. I think it's his latest 2 videos. Let me see, because I want to cite this to you guys rightly. Let me see. Hold on. Can I like put it in the description? Let's see. Which one was it? I think it's this one. I always advise people to listen to the sources. Hold on. I don't know if this is going to play, Rudy. It might. So forgive me. I don't know if you can hear that. But let me put a link for you. Let me see if I could do this. Let's see if this works. You can watch that too. Okay? 805-871. That's a goodie right there. That's a goodie. Cool. You know, I'm going to do this from now on. And then let me give you one more. I like hooking people up. Hold on. Here's one more. Imagine like me doing a podcast while listening to a podcast that's weird. That's super weird. All right. All right, here we go. Here's one more. There's mine. Alrighty, guys. Thank you, guys. I'm going to be heading out tonight. I will catch you guys tomorrow night. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to share this video. Make sure to like it before you leave. Smash the like button before you leave. Share this video with your friends and your family. Make sure to follow me on Rumble. Follow me on Parler and all my social media handles below as well. And until tomorrow night and until next time, Unless the Lord wills, America, remember to stay free.